Hello, BTS lovers. Is it true that Jimin's support has been more than just the solidarity of his group mates? Why is his statement only now released, and what does it mean for BTS's future? In an official statement released surprisingly through the Weverse platform and rebroadcast by several leading Korean entertainment media such as Dispatch and Korea Herald, Park Jimin, one of the key members of BTS, finally revealed the reason why he was intensely involved in the process of Jungkook's solo tour titled Golden Horizon. This confession is not just an ordinary statement. His sentence after sentence brought a strong shock effect, not only to ARMY, but also to observers of the K-pop entertainment industry as a whole. What makes this recognition so important and unexpected? For the first time since the start of Jungkook's international solo tour in mid-2024, the public has finally received confirmation of Jimin's emotional and professional involvement in the project. The confusing issues that fans have been whispering about Jimin secretly accompanying Jungkook behind the scenes, providing vocal direction, and even influencing important artistic decisions, are no longer speculation. Jimin directly stated that his role in the tour was not only as a close friend, but as a mental and emotional guardian of BTS's Golden Magne. In an exclusive interview with Big Hit Music, which was released alongside a mini-documentary on HYB label's YouTube, Jimin said, "I didn't just want to make sure the concert went smoothly. I want to make sure Jungkook walks on a stage that doesn't make him feel alone. He may seem strong in the eyes of the world, but I know when he needs a shoulder to lean on." The sentence shook the timeline. Within hours, the hashtag Jimin for Jungkook became the #1 global trending, and millions of ARMY poured out their feelings on social media. But the confession did not stop there. Jimin added that his involvement was due to a direct request from Jungkook himself, a request that Jimin said came after a very personal emotional moment between the two of them, amid Jungkook's pressure and doubts ahead of his first concert in New York. This statement reinforces speculation that HYB's internal pressure on Jungkook was very high during the early days of the tour. In an exclusively edited fragment of the conversation from the documentary, Jungkook is seen saying to Jimin, "I can stand on that stage, Hyung, but I'm not sure I can stand up straight if I'm alone." It was a turning point that led Jimin to temporarily abandon a number of personal projects, only to accompany Jungkook secretly during crucial phases. This truth surprised many. For months, there was no official statement from Jungkook or his agency regarding Jimin's role behind the tour. In fact, during the inaugural press conference of Golden Horizon held in Los Angeles in August 2024, the main focus was only on Jungkook's solo work and his international achievements. Not a single question led to the involvement of other BTS members personally. Now, with the advent of Jimin's confession, the public is asking, is this part of HYB's communication strategy? An internal source from the South Korean entertainment industry, who did not want to be named, revealed that from the beginning of the launch of BTS's solo project, there was an agreement between HYB and the members to separate personal roles from professional narratives so that each member could stand alone. In practice, however, the emotional closeness and long history between members make this kind of tacit involvement inevitable. In response to Jimin's statement, HYB finally issued an official clarification. In a limited press release received by K-Media News, they wrote, "Jimin's role during Jungkook's solo tour was a form of personal support between group mates. We do not intervene in such relationships and never prohibit involvement between members to the extent that it does not interfere with each other's activities." This statement raises new polemics. Many ARMY questioned why this kind of transparency was not done in the first place, especially since the tour's publications had been emphasizing a narrative of individual independence. A deeper emotional context emerges when Jimin reveals in the documentary that he wrote a special letter to Jungkook just before the opening concert in New York began. The letter was never published, but in the interview, Jimin read part of it while holding back tears. "You know, not only the fans are proud of you, but we, your brothers at BTS, too. If you fall, then I'll be the first to lift you back up." This recognition seems to be an emotional detonator for millions of fans who have only been able to guess the internal dynamics of BTS after the conscription period and solo career transition. Many consider Jimin's confession to be a form of sincere loyalty and affection. a reminder that the relationship between the members does not stop despite the ongoing individual projects. However, not a few also considered that the release of this statement was part of HYBE's new narrative strategy ahead of the BTS group's comeback scheduled for 2026, after all the members have completed their military service. Was this emotional confession purely from Jimin's heart, or was it part of a carefully engineered communication? Sociologist of popular culture from Korea University, Professor Han Ji-woo, in an interview with Seoul Broadcasting Times, stated, "This kind of phenomenon is not just about personal relationships between celebrities. It's about how the K-pop industry manages the narrative of emotion as capital." But at the same time, we cannot ignore the authenticity of such phrases given by Jimin. In the context of Korean collective culture, such emotional loyalty is profound. Meanwhile, Jungkook himself has not issued an official statement regarding Jimin's comments. In his latest concert in London a few days ago, Jungkook only briefly said, "I will never be alone on stage, because I know there is always someone watching and supporting me, even when invisible." It was met with cheers and tears from the fans present at the O2 Arena. ARMY globally began collecting old clips showing small interactions between Jimin and Jungkook during the tour, from backstage camera highlights to brief conversations on stage that had previously gone unnoticed. Many now see him with a new perspective, an indirect proof of Jimin's emotional influence and personal support for Jungkook. Most industry analysts regard Jimin's move as an affirmation that BTS's identity has never been completely divorced despite his increasingly prominent solo activities. In a global landscape where individualism is in the spotlight, this kind of recognition reinforces the collective values and emotional connectivity that have made BTS more than just a musical group. It's a cultural icon with a deep narrative. The question now is, will this recognition be followed by other openness from BTS members? Do V, Jin, RM, J-Hope, and Suga also have behind-the-scenes stories that they haven't revealed yet? If true, then Jimin may have just opened the first door of a series of realities that have so far only circulated in the form of speculation. More than just a personal confession, Jimin's statement today has shifted the way the public views the dynamics of relationships between BTS members. She not only shows the vulnerable side of humanity, but also reminds the world that behind all the glamour, there are stories of support, fear, worry, and love between friends that are not always seen by the camera. This news will continue to be updated as there is a possible response from Jungkook and other related parties. But one thing is now certain: Jimin's confession has created a new chapter in BTS's journey, one in which emotional honesty becomes an important part of their global narrative. Shortly after Jimin's statement spread widely, various international media also raised this issue. The New York Times ran a special report on how the emotional dynamics between BTS members still play a big role in their careers, even in the midst of independent global solo projects. The media highlighted that Jimin's actions were not just an ordinary gesture of friendship, but a vivid example of a model of emotional leadership that is rarely seen in the entertainment industry. This phenomenon reveals a new dimension of artist emotional management in the K-pop world. While most agencies strictly separate the professional and personal realms for the sake of management efficiency, Jimin breaks that boundary by directly intervening in Jungkook's emotional processes, assuming the role of psychic and artistic counterweight in times of crisis. Some welcome the move with empathy and admiration. However, not a few also highlight the controversial side. Did Jimin's move increase the pressure on Jungkook to perform perfectly due to expectations and scrutiny from fellow members? Does this indicate the presence of an emotional dependence that has not actually been resolved between them?